for watching the inaugural video of Numbskull Music. Now, I'm going to focus mostly on metal, rock, alternative metal. Definitely stuff from the 90s. I'm a 90s kid, not a kid anymore, but I can still talk about the crap. And today, for my first video, I'll talk about Pantera, or the Pantera reunion, the Pantera tribute BS that has been going on for a while now. I know it's an old story, but I'm going to give my 2 cents anyway. I don't give a damn. Kind of conflicted. Well, maybe not conflicted. In part, I'm conflicted. Let's just... Because, look, this is Rex Brown's band and Phil Anselmo's band as well, not just the Abbott brothers. So, if the Abbott family is cool with them doing that, it should all be good, right? After all, they got Charlie Benente on drums. They put in Zakk Wylde on guitar, like everybody knows this shit. And those guys were huge, were big friends of the Abbott brothers, so it should be fine, no problem. But I don't know, I just keep going back to what Vinnie said about this whole thing, about a possible reunion or get-together using Zakk Wylde.
You've once again stated that a Pantera reunion is completely out of the question. Why do you think people don't get tired of talking about it?
People are selfish, man. They want what they want. They don't care what you want, And it's unfortunate that people go, oh, wow, man, they could get Zakk Wylde to jump up there on stage and it's Pantera again. No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not that simple. If Eddie Van Halen wants to get shot in the head 4 times next week, then would everybody be going, hey, man, Zakk, go play for Van Halen. Just call it Van Halen. You see what I'm saying? I mean, it's really selfish for people to think that, and it's stupid. They call it a reunion for a reason. It's called bringing the original members back to what it was, So there's a lot of these things that they call reunions that aren't really reunions. They got one dude from the band floating around in them, I mean, that's not a true reunion. With Pantera, it'll never be possible,
So as you can see, Vinnie Paul wasn't exactly on board, even though, he really liked Zakk Wylde. They were friends and all that, but he's right. This shit ain't Pantera without Dimebag. It's not Pantera without Vinnie. Why are we using the name? Because that's where the money is. I mean, if you wanted to be honorable about it, you can call the shit down. A tribute to Pantera. Call the whole tour a tribute to Pantera. But are you opening for Metallica with that? Are you being able to tour the world and make ass tons of money? Probably not. The money is in the name Pantera. Which, this is why Phil has been desperate for a long time to work something out with Vinnie Paul to get Pantera back on the road. Desperate for it.
My door is always open. That's all I can say. Vinnie Paul wants to call this house, wants to get in touch with me, wants to talk about anything. If he wants to scream at me, whatever, he knows where to find me. And I wish it could happen. I really do. I really, really do. So anyone else out there that wishes Pantera would reunite or whatnot, better get in line. Because, there isn't a day that goes by that I don't think about this very fucking thing.
Now that whole video, he did a whole sit-down interview about an hour long, Phil Anselmo did, and a lot of eye-opening things in that. You got to read between the lines with some things. And look, Phil Anselmo is probably my favorite metal vocalist of all time. I think he's the best. Very versatile. We all know this shit, right? One of the greats. Even if he's not your favorite, he's one of the greats. But like a lot of the greats, he is an asshole. It was his fault Pantera broke up in the first place. And there's a lot of things in that video. A lot. Talking about Dimebag, talking about Vinnie. That was illuminating. So, from what I gathered in that, is that he really loved Dime They weren't the same people. Dime and Vinny loved to go out and party, go to the tit bars, do the whole deal. And, Phil never was into that. All right, so there's always a disconnect. And in that, which I thought was in this interview, which was really interesting, and why I think it's relevant, is that I think he did have some affinity for Dime, but Dime's always going to have Vinny's back, and Vinny's always going to have Dime's back. They're damn brothers. They grew up together. They started the band together. But him and Vinny, they weren't the same. This is according to Phil. They were at odds on a lot of things. Now they can come together and make music and do great things. They could jam like that. They could work together. But outside of that personal life, they're two different people. Oil and water. And that was according to Phil. So a lot of this interview to me was a lot of just throwing things out there to kiss ass, trying to reach out, using any kind of way to reach out to Vinnie Paul and put Pantera back together. Because Phil is kind of what he's found during this time. Phil's kind of nothing without Pantera. Sure, he can do some down stuff. He can do super jointy. There's a lot of things he can do, but none of it on that level. And I think what he missed was being on that level. Down was never going to be what Pantera was. Super joint sure as hell wasn't going to be. And all the things he did after that wasn't going to be. It was all going to be small club stuff. He was never going to be anything like he was in Pantera. That's what he was after. He also blamed a lot of the problems and a lot of his problems on chronic back pain. I'm not calling him a liar. I believe he did have chronic pain. But it doesn't make you a chronic asshole. All right, it doesn't make you go on the road with other bands when you're not showing up to Pantera stuff. And he still blamed that on chronic back pain. Amazingly. Do I buy it? No, I don't buy it. I don't. I think he got pissed off at them. Who knows? All I know is that he was kind of a dick. And it was 100% his fault that Pantera broke up. You don't believe me? There's this.
How hard was it for you guys when you knew in your heart Phil was not returning to Pantera?
Yeah, man, I mean, it was devastating, It was, we felt the same way that the Pantera fans felt, We felt betrayed, crushed, and didn't understand why or know why, And after about a year of this and, him and his side projects, and which eventually turned into his main projects, and him having less than favorable things to say about Pantera and its members from the stages across the United States of America. Me and Dime trying to communicate with the dude for over a year through phone calls, management, the record company. We even had a meeting scheduled in New York with a label that never happened. We finally decided it was time for us to move on. After a year of that, we weren't going to sit around and wait any longer. So we started writing music and really started trying to get out of Pantera mode and really start focusing on, something else, because we love playing music and we missed the fans and we wanted to be out there and make sure that we let them know that we didn't let them down. We were there for them to the end, and that's why we're still here today with Damage Plan.
Why do you feel Phil lost the vision for Pantera?
I don't know. I couldn't answer that for you, I guess the next interview you do, you can ask him. In my opinion, I do feel like, drugs and outside influences had a lot to do with it.
So as you can see, they sure as hell were trying to get something worked out with Phil back in the day, and Phil wasn't having it. Phil wasn't having it. And then later on, the shoe's on the other foot, except now Dime's gone. And as Vinny said, anything was possible as long as Dime was alive. But once he died, any hope for Pantera or Pantera reunion died with him. And so now you have this thing that's touring with the Pantera name, but it's not Pantera. It's not. And it's kind of gross to me that, Phil had to wait for Vinny to die in order to do this shit. And, it was just an opportunity. No one knew Vinny was going to die young, but he died. And Phil sees the moment, and it's all about tribute. All but I don't buy any of that either. I think it's about tribute for Zach, for Charlie, for Rex. I think it's a big tribute for them. I don't feel that from Phil. I just don't. And the fact that he was so thirsty to get this band back together. Man, I wish Vinny would call me. I wish he'd pick up the phone. I've sent emails and all this shit. Well, they did the same damn thing. Him and his brother back in the day. You weren't having it. Talking shit all across the country about those two. So, you want to know why we never got one more album, one more tour with the original, or any of that? It's because of Phil. Fuck Phil. That's what I'm trying to say. And screw this whole reunion, not reunion BS that they've thrown out there for the last year and a half. However long it's been going. I don't know if it's still going or not. It's not Pantera. And by the way, Phil sounds great. I've heard some stuff from the tour. Phil sounds great. Rex is playing great. Zach is amazing. He's doing a pretty damn good Dime impersonation. Charlie Benente's doing great. We know these guys are great. But just how it exists, it's kind of icky. You know? I don't feel good about it. It's kind of gross. Anyway. Thanks for watching this crap. And I'll be back with some other crap on Numbskull Music. Bye.